see on Neil Armstrong particularly, he doesn't want to lie. This guy just doesn't want to lie. He's looking down. He just doesn't want to say anything. This is why he didn't give any interviews for the rest of his life.
Look at that. Please do look at that, folks. YouTube video of the first Apollo crew to come back. Press conference. It's really embarrassing. I mean, it's just embarrassing. The lie was so big that they really couldn't fake it that well. It was too much for them.
Mr. Armstrong, I do realize that when you were on the moon, you had very little time for gazing upwards. But could you tell us something about what the sky actually looks like from the moon, the sun, the earth, the stars, if any, and so on?
The sky is a deep black when viewed from the moon, as it is when viewed from cislunar space, the space between the Earth and the moon. The Earth is the only visible object other than the sun that can be seen, although there have been some reports of seeing planets. I myself did not see planets from the surface, but I suspect they might be visible. The Earth is quite beautiful from space and from the moon. It looks quite small and quite remote, but it's very blue and covered with white lace and of the clouds, and the continents are clearly seen, although they have very little color from that distance.
What about the sun? Could you see any trace of the corona?
No, the glare from the sun on the helmet visor was too difficult to pick out the corona. The only time we could see the corona was during an eclipse of the sun from the moon. That is, when we were flying through the moon's shadow and could observe the solar corona peeking out from behind the moon.
Looking at the photographs that you brought back, the colored photographs of the moon's surface, it seems that the color of the surface actually varies according to the angle from which you see it. Is this so? Does it do this?
Yes, it certainly does. It's a characteristic that we observe first while traveling around the moon in orbit. You could see that at the terminator, at the boundary between the black part of the moon and the lighted part of the moon, it was as if you were looking at a television set with the contrast turned to full contrast, very black and very white. As you moved further into the light, there were more and more shades of gray. But as you moved further, such the sun was higher above the horizon, you actually start to see the tans and browns appear, although at a very low level. Similarly, on the surface of the moon, the same characteristic is evident. You can see browns if the sun is high enough. Apollo 12, for example, landed while the sun was only 5 degrees above the horizon. So when they arrived, they saw no browns or tans anywhere, only fairly high contrast grays.
But you did?
But yes, I did. The sun was at 11 degrees. And Apollo 12 did also the next day when they arose from their sleeping period and the sun was higher. Of course, then the browns were observable to them.
When you were actually walking about on the moon's surface and kicking about a certain amount of dust, did you notice any local color? And also, were you at all subconsciously worried about the possibility of unsafe areas?
Well, the color is a puzzling phenomenon on the moon, aside from the characteristics that I've already mentioned. You generally have the impression of being on a desert-like surface with rather light-colored hues. Yet when you look at the material at close range, as if in your hand, you find it's a charcoal gray, in fact, and we were never able to find any things that were very different from that color. I suspect that as we get more and more samples with future flights, we will see that there is, in fact, some color, but the optical properties on the moon are most peculiar.
Commander, a few days ago we saw a beautiful moon from the Earth. Beautiful red moon. You were closer, 400 kilometers closer. Did you watch it? No. What was the experience of the moon since there?
Well, on that particular day of the lunar eclipse, unfortunately, where it was occurring with regards to basically our sky and where our windows are located, we really couldn't see it from the space station. Plus, it was in the middle of the night, so those two reasons why we didn't see it. But in general, you know, the moon and the Earth and the stars are very, very beautiful to see from here, and you know, it's something we enjoy looking at, certainly.
People noticed that the place that we seem to be living would every now and then cast a shadow on the moon. And when it did, that shadow was always round. Now, the only shape we know of that always casts a round shadow is a ball. It's our curvature of the Earth horizon model of science. And this blue stuff is like the ocean. And this boat, well, it's like a boat. Anyway, watch. As ships sail away, they don't disappear all at once. No, first, the bottom will disappear. See, the bottom of the ship is gone. Now we can see midway up, and then the whole thing disappears. Now, ships came back. They didn't fall off a table. So people realized that the world is curved. I mean, it's a big curve, but it's curved. So, the process of testing claims, the world is flat, the world is round, is what we call science. Now, if you have a claim that can't be tested, that's what we call pseudoscience. The difference between pseudoscience and regular science is whether or not you can test it. The flat Earth, well, that didn't stand up to tests. The round Earth did. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary proof. The world is round. I'm out of here.
William Sanford, Bill Nye, right? Popularly known as Bill Nye the Science Guy, is an American science educator, comedian, television presenter, actor, writer, and it's definitely not a scientist. A former mechanical engineer, best known as host of Disney, of course, right? 666 Disney, PBS children's show, Bill Nye the Science Guy. He studied mechanical engineer at Cornell University, where he took a class. Oh, there's his introduction to science. He took a class that was just happened to be taught by Carl Sagan, and graduated with a Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering in 1977. So he came up through Boeing. He started his career at Seattle Boeing, where, among other things, he starred in training films. So he's already was an actor. This is where he came in. Okay, so Nye began his professional career, professional entertainment career. So look, they're telling you right now, this is a professional entertainment career as an actor-writer on a local sketch comedy, it's like UHF, right? A television show in Seattle called Almost Live. The host of the show was Ross Schaefer, suggested he do some scientific demonstrations in a 6-minute segment and take the nickname Science Guy. Right? His other main reoccurring role on Almost Live was Speedwalker, a speedwalking Seattle superhero.
This looks like a job for... Speedwalker.
Yes, it's Speedwalker, the physically fit superhero who fights crime while maintaining strict adherence to the regulations of the International Speedwalking Association. Heel toe, Speedwalker.
The segment's national popularity led to Nye hosting an educational program, Bill Nye the Science Guy, from 1993 to 1998. With its comedic overtones, the show became popular as teaching aid in schools. When portraying the Science Guy, Bill wears a light blue lab coat and a bow tie, just like he's still playing the part.
Sit down with Kyrie Irving to talk to him, what would you want to say?
Well, you guys, you can't put too much energy into this, and I understand later he backtracked and said, oh, I was just kidding-ish. But it just shows you, I have failed. I have failed.
No, you haven't, Bill.
As a science educator. But in the biggest picture, that the Earth is round is a fantastic thing to evaluate. In other words, from a skeptical standpoint, when you go outside, no matter where you live, pretty much, you look at it and the world looks flat. This looked flat to ancient people for sure. But then as time went on, and people looked more carefully, they realized that the Earth casts a round shadow on the moon when there's an eclipse. And the only shape that always casts a round shadow is a sphere. Then they saw ships go over the horizon and come back. And so the evidence for the round Earth, which way do I go? Yeah, is overwhelming. Where would you get this picture were it not for the roundness of the Earth?
I am terribly humbled by this experience. I, forever, secretly, have felt that I do not deserve to be in the position of leading the team that I lead.
Adam, tell us about the landing.
All right, Greg. I can't tell you too much about it. I mean, it looks good. I'm being a little flip. In short, it looked extremely clean. We touched down in conditions that were on the more benign side of our nominal expectation. By the way, I want to preface everything This is preliminary data scooped with the sieve in the cacophony of the control room during the celebration, right? And largely by my good friend Miguel San Martin, who's somewhere out there, I hope. At any rate, very nominal, remarkably good. Our navigation error was on the low side of our expectation. Our powered flight appears to have been excellent. If my good friend Ben Toma is in the house, is Ben in the house? So it looked good, in short. Good and clean. And it looks, at least by my eyeball, that we landed in a nice, flat spot. Beautiful. Really beautiful.
What kind of file type, can you tell us about the image file type and compression that was used to send this very important couple of thumbnails back from Mars?
Yes, unfortunately, I absolutely cannot. If Justin Mackey is in the room, or there's a couple other people on the team who'd be able to whip that out quickly, but I couldn't tell you. Sorry.
Okay, a serious question. A little more than 48 hours ago, you told me you would tell me a secret. Once Curiosity landed. Can I have my secret?
Yeah, what was this? A lot has happened in the last 48 hours. And to be very truthful, I do not recall what that secret was.
Leo Enright from Irish Television. The unmanned spaceflight website has coordinates for the landing that go down to something like 5 decimal points. I just wanted to confirm with you that you do have those sort of coordinates. And am I reading those coordinates correctly when I see that it looks as though you've landed within 500 meters of the skirt around the mountain? That, I mean, you're really very close to the mountain at the closer end in the landing ellipse, and possibly within striking distance of the phyllosilicate trench.
I can't confirm that. My estimate, I'm looking for somebody, yes, there's somebody in the audience here who has that in the tip of their noggin. We should have soon that estimate, but I don't have it to 5 decimal places. We wouldn't report it to that because we're certain that we don't know it to that. And I don't know what the unmannedspaceflight.com estimate is.
Scared in case I fall off my chair, and I'm wondering how I'll get down the stairs. Clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right. Here I am, stuck in the middle with you. Yes, I'm stuck in the middle with you, and I'm wondering what it is I should do. It's so hard to keep the smile from my face. Losing control, yeah, I'm all over the place. Caught in the crossfire. It's caught in the crossfire.